Welcome to the Author Next Door,
where we talk writing, publishing, and the business behind the books.
This podcast is for writers who are a few steps ahead into the journey. Maybe you've published, maybe you're planning what's next, and you realize the questions aren't getting easier. They're just getting more interesting.
Sometimes it's just our fabulous selves. Sometimes we bring friends to the table, but it's always lived experience and information you can use.
So pull up a chair. The conversation starts now.
Welcome to episode 52. I am Angela Haas, and I'm here with my co-host, Cassie Newell. And this month, we're talking about how to start the year off right. Today, we're exploring a new year in the life of an indie author. And today, we are also speaking with Holly Lyne, who was our first guest in 2025. And she's back, and she's amazing. She was before, but even more amazinger, and that's really a word. We're going to check in with her because she had a banger year, and we want to hear all about it. So, welcome, Holly.
Hello. Thank you for having me back.
Yeah, excited to talk to you. So tell us about 2025. How was it for you? And then compare where you are now to where you were when we spoke last January.
Yeah. So I actually had to go through like my bullet journals to remind myself. I was like, what were my plans at the start of the year? It has been a banger of a year. And I am not where I thought I was going to be at all, in the best way. I started the year with plans for what I was going to write. I had scheduled out my writing and publishing plans for the first half of the year, and everything changed in March. I don't know how specific you want me to get, if you want to ask extra questions, but
well, what changed in March specifically? What was the precipice?
Okay.
Can you go into that?
So I started the year with a new series that I was writing that I was really excited about. But I got this other idea in my head in January, right at the start of the year. And I started writing it, and it very quickly took over all of my time. And I'd set myself a goal to write 360,000 words this year. I wrote 150,000 in the first quarter.
Oh,
that's amazing.
It's amazing. It just really, this new idea just really took off. And I knew I would have to publish it under a pen name because it was completely different from what I write as HB Lyne. And I just jumped in. I didn't even really think about it that much. It was just, no, I'm doing this. This is happening. And so I launched that pen name in April, and it just went bonkers, like straight out of the gate. April was my best month of all time, and then it just kept getting better and better.
In your author career of all time?
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. And I'm now in a situation where I am making more money than I've ever made as an author before. Really, thank you. I've diversified. So I sell on TikTok Shop now, and that's actually where I make most of my money. And yeah, I'm now launching another new pen name early next year. It's been absolutely crazy. It's been a whirlwind, and I had no idea this was going to happen. So my whole year really changed. I mean, in April, really. March was when like I had all these words. I'd written 4 books, novellas, and I'd never written so much so fast. So that was in the first quarter of the year, and then it was April when I started publishing. And yeah, and it came to a point where I had to be realistic about what I had planned to write, and I basically quietly closed up HB Lyne. I'm not writing under that name anymore, which has been bittersweet, but I'm very excited about the next chapter.
Gosh, I love this so much for you. We talked so much about mindset last time. right? Last year. So this mindset shift is amazing. Like, it must feel so gratifying to be so excited to write again and be inspired again.
Yeah, absolutely. And my word of the year this year was simplicity. And I wanted to get rid of all the noise. And
Yeah.
I really feel like I've achieved that. I've been very focused just on writing, just writing what I want to write. In fact, when I was looking through my bullet journal and reminding myself, I found I had written a note to myself at the start of the year. And I asked myself, what do I want my life to look like? And how can I have that now? And my answer was freedom to follow my passions, schedule me time, write what I want, and financial freedom. And I've achieved both of those things this year.
My gosh, that's so amazing.
Manifest.
I'm so excited and inspired by you. What is your word for 2026? Do you have one yet?
Yes, it's momentum.
Oh,
Momentum. Oh, I
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah. I'm gonna ride this wave, baby.
Yeah, I do words of the year too.
yeah.
Yeah, that's
So what's
awesome.
yours, Cassie? What's yours for 2020?
For 2026, it's
Mhm.
stability.
Ooh.
Mm,
Yeah.
I like that.
Because, and Angela's laughing because I was not stable in 2025. I
I don't
was
know
all
where you
over the
were.
place.
Like you were, I was like, oh, you're over here? No,
I
you're
know.
here.
And then I was moving and it was
Yeah.
crazy town. My plan got upheavaled in the best way too, but in a different way that I had to switch my plan from things I thought I was going to produce in the summer to this year.
Mhm.
And yeah, it was just crazy. So I'm looking for stability.
Mhm.
This is my plan. Do you
Yeah.
have a word of the year for this year, Angela? Like, I don't know.
Um,
Do you do that?
hey, my no.
Yeah. I was like, I don't know that that's a thing you do, but I thought I would ask.
No, I do different little manifestations. I have a bowl where I put trinkets in and make sacrifices to the writing gods. I mean, I'm trying everything. I'm just trying it all. Okay. Uh, no, I don't do that. And we don't condone that kind of behavior on this show. But sometimes I feel like I'm a little desperate for like that magic, the magic
Mm,
beans. Let's call them magic beans. And it's like,
Mm.
what is it? But I probably should try to have a word. I think my word would be consistency, like trying to stay
yeah.
focused and consistent because I learned a term talking to Scarlett, one of Brian Cohen's Groundbreakers coaches. And she talks about that she was talking to me about the fact that she's a Phoenix writer and
Mm,
I'm a Phoenix writer. Like you
Yeah.
grind and grind, and I almost like burn myself into ashes. And that's what I did on No Climb Too High because I haven't written a new word in 6 weeks, which feels
yeah.
devastating. But I almost wonder if I'm in my ashes phase
Mm.
where I'm like rebuilding and then, I'm going to really rise up and really start cranking out
Yeah.
stuff.
Becca Syme kind of coined that phrase
Yeah.
for Phoenixes, and I am one too. But I also look at it as like cyclical writing. I
Yeah.
know I have cycles, and I know there are periods where I have to rest. And it was so funny because the end of 2025, I had planned everything so I could rest.
Mhm. And
Didn't
you did
happen.
not. Mm-mm.
Didn't happen completely as I wanted it to. I mean, I definitely had lazy weekends. I didn't touch a
Right.
thing. I didn't write a word, what have you. But I also am like coming into January. Okay, well, I'm pushing it into January. And I do have like these big periods in the summer where I am just, I don't know why summer, but like late spring, summer, I'm just like kind of like Holly and the way you talked about writing so much. Like I wrote a whole series. They were all novellas, but that's just kind of how it happens for me. Like when I'm ready and I have it, it's just boom. So I just kind of plan for the summer and I hope to kind of coast on the rest of it as I go because it ends up being more production schedule for me. So I wanted to ask Holly, when you choose a word for the year,
Hmm.
what goes around that? Because I know for me personally, when I am in disarray and I'm spiraling, that's when I go back to that word, and for some reason, it always grounds me because I put things around it. in terms of emotions and why I chose that word. And usually it brings me back to center. But
Mm.
I'm just kind of curious for you, when you choose a word for the year, like what goes into that? How do you use it throughout the year?
So I choose it based on just intuition, just what I feel I
Yeah.
need. Um, and I just remind myself of it. So when I set up my bullet journal each month, I'll write it on my monthly dashboard. So it's right there as a reminder. Every day I'm going to look at that dashboard. Um, and I'll just calligraphy it every now and then. I do
Hmm.
hand lettering and just keep it in mind. And when I'm planning my goals, which I tend to do quarterly, I used to
Yeah.
plan far ahead, but when I had my really bad burnout, I had to stop doing that. Um, so I plan roughly sort of 3 or 4 months ahead now. And when I'm choosing my goals, I have this tendency to get carried away.
Yeah.
So, so this year with my word being simplicity, I would look down my list of like 18 goals and go, hang on, that's not
Yeah.
simple, Holly.
Mhm.
And I would pare it back and see, right, what can I get rid of and what do I absolutely have to keep? So it just helps me stay focused on what my overriding goal for the year, what my vision for the year is. So with my word for 2026 for momentum, obviously I chose that because I've had a really good year and I want to continue it. Um, and I thought about choosing production, but decided it didn't feel right. It felt too regimented and too like, I have to live up to that. Whereas momentum just felt like it had more flexibility in it for me. So I'm looking at my vision for the year and it's very much like a high concept is what do I want to feel like over the course of the year?
I love that. That's
Yeah, and
brilliant.
I can already feel a difference just being here with you today because last year at this time, you had some momentum, but it wasn't anything like I can feel like the whole energy around you has shifted, because you were coming out of a really intense burnout phase. And I think you were just starting to like get that, but you're right. It was March, April when it really hit you. Do you feel like a weight has been lifted in a way or talk about your energy level with this? Because I think as writers, that is something we struggle with, right?
Yeah.
Moving, work, day to day, relationships, kids,
Children. Yeah. All the things.
partners,
Yeah.
all of it isn't it it's positive things. I'm not saying these are bad things in our lives. They're just part of our life, but it takes away your creative energy in
Yeah.
some way. So you've found a way to preserve that around you, but I can just tell, I just feel it, and you're an ocean away, you know?
Yeah.
So can you speak about that a little bit? How that
Yeah.
has
Although
shifted?
I don't know if I can articulate it. And it's not anything I haven't had control over it. It just
Yeah.
kind of is. Um, but I think, well, I'm putting myself down there. I do have control. It's down to the choices I've made. And that really focusing on finding the fun again and just following my, passions, which shows in what I've written. And as I'm keeping my pen name private, I have to be a bit vague about it, but it's been all over the place. I've written 8 different books under this pen name this year, and they're all different tropes, different subgenres, like all over the place. And it was me playing and having fun and exploring and figuring out what I like because I haven't written in this genre before. So it was like just playing in a big playground and trying different things on and seeing what was the most fun for me and also what hit the market the best. Um, and that was really revealing, and that is going to affect what I do in 2026. Um, so yeah, I just allowed myself to play and have fun and not try to meet anyone's expectations except mine.
Yeah. I I think that is what I need to remember a little bit more you want to write what you want to write, but you are still thinking of writing the market and finding that balance, but having fun. There were moments writing No Climb Too High when I was just like, I cannot claw my way out of this plot hole. And I was overthinking everything. And then I was thinking too much about marketability and where this could go. And I was like, I'm losing the fun of this. That's kind of why I miss writing my superheroes, because not that romance isn't fun, but when you have the playground of like outer space and you can create any world you want, I do kind of miss that, even though it's a little more challenging to make things connect. So good for you for having fun.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, with starting something new in 2026, what was the big lesson that you learned last year to pivot this year?
So I was, like I said, I was experimenting in 2025, and I figured out more about me and what I like, and I'm kind of doubling down on that. And I know, so I wrote short this year, and it was great and it was fun and it served its purpose. But I really want to get my teeth into something longer, more substantial. And I know that what's important to me as a writer, and I don't want to put romance down in any way, but I have found that writing short is a bit too shallow for me. And I need a bit more. I need meat on the bones. And so I I wrote 60,000 words in 17 days this month.
Wow.
And I wrote my first full-length romance novel, and it's come out at 80,000 words total. And I have never been so proud of something and so excited about something, because it has everything I love. It's got a really, really juicy plot outside of the romance. And then it also has a really, I think, fabulous romance. Wonderful spice, obviously. Obviously.
Well, obviously.
and it's about a setting situation that I'm really excited about.
Well, that sounds so fun.
So that's going to be released under a new pen name early in 2026, and I'm following that at the moment. I'm chasing it. So I'm going to write the next one. I've started brainstorming what's going to happen in book 2, and the setting that I've chosen has wonderful scope for lots and lots of books. So yeah, again, I'm chasing what I love, and it's that, because I've gone through that process of figuring out what excites me, I feel like I'm more informed. I can make better decisions because I had that chance to explore.
Yeah. So will you keep the pen name from 2025 and continue that through 2026?
Yes, and I have plans to write something longer for that pen name as well, but I'm just more excited about this new one right now.
No, that's
it's
awesome.
the shiny object, and I'm like chase that.
What you've done in 2025 is very similar to what I've done in 2025.
Yeah.
So I'm just like tickled pink for you. I'm so excited for you.
It's been wonderful all this year. Like, I've been watching what you're doing, and like, I don't know, there's been like this sort of, it might all just be in my head, of course, but this kind of like back and forth, like, oh, that's what Cassie's doing. And like,
it's a kinship.
Yeah.
It's so funny because, sometimes people be like, are you upset? And I'm like, no, she's not competition. She's a colleague. Like, that's kind of how I think of it. I don't really, and I think authors need to start thinking like that. You're not competition, you're a colleague. It's just a different area. And it's interesting to me because I don't know, I've always been a little cheerleader at heart. So I'm excited to see the things I've seen on social media because I'm one of the lucky few who know. So it's always been so inspiring. So I'm so excited for you. I love that for you. That's great.
Tell me a little bit. I mean, you've got not one, but 2 pen names now, right?
Yeah.
For 2026. Yeah.
So is that a lot more management? Or I have this fear of creating a pen name because it's just going to be different, an extra social media, extra newsletter, like all this stuff. How
It's
has your
exhausting.
marketing shifted around that? Or is it really that daunting, or have you simplified it?
I've simplified. So this is a big reason why I've had to retire HB Line, because there is
Mm,
not enough time.
Yeah.
There just isn't enough time. And I'm a little apprehensive about having two active pen names, which is why I'm cautious about committing to anything with my 2025 pen name. It's so hard not to say the name. Um,
Yeah.
um, yeah, I would like to keep writing that, but will I?
mhm.
It depends
Yeah.
on how much time I have. But I have always been into productivity and, getting things done. When I was coaching, that was my tagline. Um, and so yeah, I manage myself. I have I'm gonna flash it, and I know not everyone sees, but I have my plan for the year. That's all you're getting because it's got spoilers. Um, so I manage myself, and I do all my newsletters in advance. I'll spend like a day at the start of the month, and I will batch everything. And
Yep.
before I retired HB Line, I was doing a fortnightly email for that name and for my pen name, and I would just batch them all a whole month's worth in advance and schedule them. Um, I am still sending a monthly email for HB Line, but it's just a placeholder. It's just a little, I'm still alive. Don't forget me. Here
Sure.
are my books.
Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, September, I think it was in September, I scheduled all of those for the rest of the year and the first one for January. So they're all done. I set and forget.
What
Um,
Let me ask you before I forget a
mm,
little like nitty-gritty for listeners who are like, "Okay, well, what are you using? Do you have a scheduler? Is this just through are you using Mailer Lite, and do you like that?"
mhm.
Because I think some people you're obviously successful, very successful, and so maybe there's a listener like, "Well, what are you using? What's the software that you're loving? What makes it easy to get all this stuff done?"
So yeah, I use MailerLite, which is just the most affordable and user-friendly mailing list service around. And I'm very analog though, so I do all of my planning on paper, and
Yeah.
that's just what works for me. And what I always have always said when I've coached people, you have to find what works for you. So it's all well and good me saying, well, this is what I do, this is my system, but it might not work for you. So, yeah, I mean, I track all my writing, all my words on a spreadsheet, um, which is how I can say I've written 411,000 words this year, um, because I have it right there. Um, and I log everything. I'm a very data oriented person, so I keep records of absolutely everything, and I have checklists and you know, um, because that's how I work. That's how my brain works. So um, that works for me. But other people might want to keep everything, digital or not track everything the way I do. Um, so yeah, you have to just kind of chart your own course, I think, and figure these things out through
Yeah.
trial and error.
I do think the teacher in me knows that I would always get students to handwrite notes still, even though, obviously some needed accommodations to use a digital device. But you remember so much more when you handwrite your lists.
Hmm.
There are studies that show that. One of these days, I'm going to come prepared with the study. Kathy, are you using MailerLite too? Is that
Yeah.
okay?
Yeah. I'm all in with MailerLite. I even do
Right.
my website through them. I
Yeah.
like
So,
having
okay.
one dashboard and
Yeah.
being done with it and have all my automations because I don't have the capacity to just jump to different companies 24/7. I started that way. And at one time I had 4 pen names. So I was like, I'm done. it's one place, one-stop shop for me. But I do write, but I like everything electronic because it's more efficient for me. And so I'm in my iPad. And what I love about the planner I've used for the last 2 years is when I'm writing things down, I can have it sync to my calendar, my Apple calendar too at the same time, which is really nice. But now that I've kind of made some business decisions and working with an assistant, things have gone more Google for me, and I'm not quite balancing that yet. So I've got to figure that out a little bit better. But yeah, you definitely need systems and processes in place to balance all that stuff, or it just kind of makes you go crazy. The one thing I was going to suggest is repurpose IO, especially if you're in Instagram and TikTok. If you're using those for social media, it just helps for repurposing content and scheduling things, and then also doing quick edits before reposting things in batches. So those things really help. So
I might have to use that for TikTok.
Yeah, it's fabulous.
If you've already had a post from a couple weeks ago, you can reuse that same post, but just make a couple edits or tweaks. You don't always have to. I think that's important to hear, because sometimes I think the pressure is feeling like you've got to create new content 20.
Nice about Repurpose IO is you can also save all your videos, so you don't have to save them on your phone, which is it just overwhelming sometimes. And you can grab an old video and edit it and then, add it back in.
Yeah. I would say my biggest headache this year has been TikTok. Yeah. I felt like it was the place I had to be to market these books, but it is so hard. Like, so much harder than people say. I was expecting from the way people talk about it that it was just going to be really easy and I would get thousands of views on everything. No, like I can't even get 100 views on most of my videos. And yet sometimes something will pop off like completely unexpectedly. I have this one like order packing video that is sitting on, I think last I looked, it was about 14,000 views and hundreds, like about 600 likes, and hundreds of people have favorited it. And I'm sure I've picked up followers and orders thanks to that video. But like, why that one? Like, there's no rhyme or reason to it. It's not replicable.
It drives me nuts. Like, I'll spend extra time on this one idea that I think is just going to pop off and hit, and it doesn't. And it's like the sloppy one I did in like 20 or 30 seconds before a meeting or early in the morning before I'm getting ready for work. And those are the ones that hit. And it's so weird. I think the algorithm has changed so much. It's more SEO bound now, right? Like, it changes all the time. And it's hard to chase that fire.
This is where I interject with my Threads is Wild piece of the episodes, because I was talking to both of you about this. Well, I'm obsessed with Threads, for those of you who may not know. I think it's a fun place, but it's interesting. Threads is words, not pictures. The people who post the reels and stuff like that don't get traction. It's all words. But the funny thing was, and this is just how it is, I posted about my new release and I pinned that to my profile. And at the same time, I made a comment how I'm so sick of Instagram ads that are just so annoying, or have like the nail tap from an influencer. I'm so done with like that kind of thing. Like, I think
the ASMR.
Yes. Well, no, just like when they're showing something and they're with their long fingernails, that just like, I don't know. And then this ad popped up, and it was this woman like giving a massage to this chair covered in fabric. And she was just really, and I was like, this is probably from a romance novel, some like shifter thing, honestly. And then she was dancing on it with a wine glass. And I was like, what is the product, people?
Lonely.
I think it was the chair cover, but I'm not sure. And I was like, if I can't tell what you're selling, then I have nothing to do with you. So I blocked the ad. But then when you the list of options that says, why do you want to hide this ad? It's like irrelevant or knows too much. Who's hiding an ad because it knows too much? These are terrible reasons for us. Like repetitive, okay, but like irrelevant is just not cutting it. I just posted on Thread. We just need ad is annoying button. And I posted it, I don't know when. All of a sudden, it got up to like over 2,000 likes, like hundreds of reposts. And I was just like, isn't this amazing? You don't know what's going to hit. I sold 2 books while that was going on. But when I posted about my actual book, I didn't hear crickets. That's Threads is wild. Part of this.
It kind of goes the same with TikTok. It's like the most random things go wild. I mean, it has to be so hooky and it has to be so current for it to be hooky. And if you're not writing in more taboo or risque ways, it's really hard to be hooky and get people's attention.
Although I think, because I am writing in that more taboo space, it's still really hard because, you know,
it's
I get my posts, you know, wrist slapped for being too naughty.
Yeah.
And it's figuring out.
Oh my gosh, they're doing that on lives now too.
Yeah. And I don't know which, like, I'm like, what word was it? Like, what? I don't know. Like, I tried to censor this. I tried to like water it down, but something slipped through. Did I say knees? Oh no.
And even when you're more PG, because my writing isn't, I mean, I'm more spicy probably than Angela, but not by a lot. Like I'm kind of in the 2-3 range. It depends, you know, it's so subjective, spice, right? Where a lot of people might say I'm a 1 chili pepper, but most of the time I land at a 2 or a 3. So I just find that when you start saying, no, it has to be this age group or up, even when you're trying to market your books, boy, you just get funneled so fast. It's difficult. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think where on TikTok specifically, I don't think you have to put an age in when you create an account. So anyone who hasn't listed their age gets excluded from seeing anything that's listed as 18 plus, just in case they're under 18.
Yeah, just in case.
So it narrows your pool down so much.
Yeah. TikTok is interesting. I've loved watching colleagues like blow up and have these great viral moments and all those things. But I'm like, damn it, when's mine? It ain't coming. It ain't happening. I'm kind of all right with it, but I'm just like, okay, that's fine.
Yeah, it seems like an exhausting app to me because it is. I
I
never downloaded it because I already get sucked into IG reels anyway that I don't need another distraction.
You know what?
But I feel like to me, I need to master one thing. This is me. Like I want to just post on Instagram, of course, because it's easy to connect that to Threads and Facebook. At least you're just getting out in those other things. You're out there, whether it hits or not. But if I could just get some traction on Instagram, I feel like I'm doing something. And then, of course, needing to fire up my newsletter. So I'm just choosing Instagram and newsletter because I just feel like TikTok would exhaust me personally. But
I go through seasons with Instagram and TikTok. And it's so interesting to me because I don't have as many followers on Instagram, but I have the most community discussions in Instagram.
Right.
And they seem more authentic in Instagram to me than they do in TikTok. They're very surface level, hearts, whatever, which is fine. There are a few people that I have more interaction, but it's weird when you get more involved in the lives, there's a bigger connection. But again, it feels very seasonal or it did last year for me in TikTok than it does on Instagram, which is pretty dang consistent in terms of community. So I've definitely been a slow and grow on Instagram, which I'm fine with. And it happened a little faster when I really put effort into TikTok. It'll grow, but it's just not the same. I don't know.
What I've really found with TikTok is when I can get out of my head about, I have to get views, and I just engage with people. It doesn't even matter if I'm posting, actually. My posting rate doesn't matter. If I am interacting with other people's content, going on people's lives, chatting with people, exchanging DMs, I feel better about using it and I see good things come my way. And certainly in the first sort of 3 or 4 months that I was on the platform, and I only joined in April. So it was during that when I was pushing out the first batch of books and, I was connecting with voice actors, and I had a physical bookstore reach out to me and say they wanted to stock my books, which they have done. They've been stocking my books this year. I had VAs reaching out and saying, can I record something, sharing my posts and that kind of thing. So the opportunities that came along through TikTok were nothing to do with my posts and everything to do with my engagement.
Right.
I think I forget that. I'll go for a few weeks where I sort of forget that that's what works. And I need to remind myself, no. And it's the high relator thing, right, Cassie? It's not about being an influencer. It's about connecting one-on-one on a deep level. Yeah, that's what works
and it's
for
hard
me.
to do, right? Because you're like, I don't know this person. Like, I'm very kind to everyone, but I'm just like, but I don't really know this person. That's always my problem.
Yeah.
But I think I've gotten better as I've aged a little bit on doing those things, but it's a little unnerving for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what I want to know from both of you, you both make writing goals, right? Do you make marketing goals? Do you have marketing, like this is where I want to hit with this? If you want to share those.
I don't, because I've always disappointed myself with those because I don't feel like I can control, I can't really control how many followers I have or anything like that. So I just find setting those kind of goals frustrating. I think I have at times sort of, given myself a goal of I want to post every day or something that is within my control. But no, I tend to just leave that a bit more up to fate.
Yeah. Cassie?
I do. So I do have production goals for 2026. They're not outrageous by any short of the imagination, but I do have goals. Like I want to increase my ARC and ALC membership by 50%. That's not exuberant by any stretch of the imagination. I think I can do it. I think it's a pretty low goal, actually. I tend to undercut myself so that I know that I feel confident in making those goals. And I also want to double my newsletter subscription. I don't really make social media goals anymore. I would love to get at a point where I could go live on Instagram because last year I was so excited and I was ready to go live and I was like, oh my God, I don't have the number I need to go live. It didn't hit me because I had that number in TikTok and I just did not connect that I didn't have it in Instagram. So like I would love to be able to go live and do more things in Instagram, but it's not really a goal I set like I do for the growth of my business. So last year my word was building and that's all I was trying to do. And this year, just to be stable, I want to continue some of that growth. That's also tied around that. So,
yeah, I just need to write my newsletter. I have very minimal goals and I need to be consistent with a newsletter. I really let that fall off because I just didn't know what to say every time, but I'm getting better about thinking about it doesn't even have to be long. It doesn't have to be a long newsletter. It's just a quick hit, something visual, video, something engaging, maybe a question, and then just let it go and just keep doing that. And that is a goal of mine, to be consistent with a newsletter.
Yeah,
So.
that was actually one of my goals for 2025 was consistent newsletters, which I managed to do. So
Yeah.
I find them real once you get going though.
Yeah.
They're really fun because people will start replying back to your newsletter. And I love that. I love getting replies from readers and things like that. I mean, it fuels me. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
It's really fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, well, cool. Well, we are calling our questions, hot seat questions.
Mm-hmm.
Here. So, okay, this is a good hot seat. What is the best concert you've ever been to?
Oh.
So probably Rammstein in Cardiff. It was a big arena, and I've seen them about 4 or 5 times, but this one in particular was amazing because we were right near the front, and they do loads of pyrotechnics, and we could
Mhm.
feel the heat of the pyros. Like
Oh,
we
Wow.
were close to the front, yeah, and that was phenomenal, yeah.
wow.
It's
Cassie?
a good one. Mine was One Republic. It was outside in Tampa and it rained. And me and my youngest daughter had tickets, and I was so pumped about this concert. And I love Ryan Tedder, by the way. He's the
Mhm.
lead singer of One Republic. I find him just to be just this creative genius. So I was so excited, and then the lightning started hitting, and all the like alerts came out, like the concert's delayed for an hour, then another hour. And me and my daughter were out. We went to a bookstore. We were like eating dinner, and it's pouring, like cats and dogs pouring. And this is in Florida. And I was like, oh my God, they're going to cancel the concert. And then we got hey, it'll be starting in about 20 minutes. The gates are going to open. And I was so excited. And I was like, this is a mess. I mean, we're soaked. We're pretty wet,
Sometimes those are the
all
best.
the things.
Yeah.
But I had tickets under a pavilion. So it was a little drier. And it just made the night. It was perfect. He did songs that he's written for other artists. I mean, they kept the concert just going, going, going. And we had so much fun. And by the time we got back in our vehicle, I mean, we had mud up our calves and knees. You felt like you were at like Bonnaroo or something, where you had tented out all night, but it was just a fun outdoor concert. But it was because it stormed so badly, but it was the best concert. So memorable too. Yeah,
Mm.
that was my favorite.
It's awesome.
That sounds so fun, actually. I have 3 because I can't choose. All of these are gonna
No
age
fair.
me. Yeah. Hey, I ask the questions, I make the rules. So the first 2 were at Red Rocks. If you've never been to a concert at Red Rocks, Colorado, it's life altering because of the sound, just out in nature. You're just sitting on a brick slab, like a slab in the mountain, right? Police. Oh my gosh. With my 2 besties, that was so much fun. Also, Celtic Women at Red Rocks, and it was a little stormy, and so it was like so dramatic. They, when their violinist was playing and like the wind picked up and it was just natural special effects. There was like a mist, and I was like, it's not what? Mist and wind, and she's playing, and I was like, we were in the front row. Amazing. Then actually Dave Matthews Live when
Oh,
it was, I was in college. But what I really miss and what they really need to bring back is the saxophone, rando saxophone solo in songs. Just the whole band experience where people actually like really played instruments, I don't come at me and say there's people that play instruments. I know Lady Gaga does or things like that. Don't come at me. But it was just different back then because everything wasn't, special effects and AI. It was like lots of concerts and musicians were still singer songwriters and musicians. So yeah, those were my 3 best. They were amazing.
Well,
Yes,
I
I am
have
old.
to pipe up with a second then because, you've opened the
Okay.
door. Um,
yeah, right.
I was fortunate enough to see David Bowie at Glastonbury in the year
Ooh, what?
2000, and it was amazing.
Oh,
It was a hell of a weekend just generally, but that's one of the highlights of my whole life, actually. It was phenomenal. But it was crazy because I don't know how familiar you are with Glastonbury as a concept, but it's the biggest music festival in the UK. And that year, I think it was something like 70,000 tickets, but 140,000 people
yeah. Oh
came
gosh.
in like over the wall. over the fence. And that was the year that then prompted the organizers to build like a massive concrete wall all the way around the grounds. Because they had twice the number of people in that they were supposed to. So it was a bit unsafe. So and most of that crowd was there for David Bowie. It was huge and it was a crush. It was a little bit scary when it ended and everyone started to leave. But the set itself was,
I can only imagine,
amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. Well, I want to add one more.
Okay. You can.
Okay. So my husband is really difficult to get to these types of events, and unless it's like some artist he really loves. But when I told him I got tickets to Phil Collins, he went. Like, he was like, I'm not missing this. And that was so amazing. And what was so incredible, I knew this would probably be his last tour, and this was a couple years ago. His son played the drums. And that was so cool,
That's really
to
cool.
see that, and just all the old songs that we love and things like that. It was an amazing time. Yeah. It was so fun. Yeah.
That was so
I loved
great.
it.
Oh, the days.
I know. I do have bucket, when you have like bucket concerts that you want to see. And like I've done a lot of them. There's just a few left. So, yeah.
I'm sort of crossing all my fingers and toes. I have a 16-year-old son and he's really into Youngblood. And he's waiting for the announcement for Bloodfest. And there is speculation that Aerosmith will be playing.
Oh my gosh.
So I'm like, yeah, you're not going alone. Mama's coming with you to see Aerosmith.
No.
He's like,
Mama's
okay.
coming with her.
You can come with me, but then we go our separate ways.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, this was so much fun. It was so great catching up with you. And I know you're going to have a fantastic year. We're excited to be along for the ride with you, Holly.
Thank you.
And thank you, everyone else, for joining us today. Don't forget to give us a review and rating wherever you listen to the podcast. It really helps us with visibility. And if you're interested in catching the Author Next Door After Dark, make sure you sign up for our newsletter because it gets spicy over there. Until then, keep writing, keep doing. We'll see ya.
We're so glad you joined us for this episode of The Author Next Door.
Writing is a long game, and it's one best played with community, curiosity, and a little grace for yourself along the way.
Keep showing up, keep learning, and keep telling stories only you can tell.
We'll see you next week, right here next door.